Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Satguru Shri Maju Baba ki Jai. May I ask for a prayer for Nitya and her mother? They had to go to the hospital right now because her mother has fallen. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us know, my dear, and all love, all blessings to dearest Nitya and her mother. What can we suffer from? Relationships, money, body, and seeking some meaning or freedom. Even the seeker is suffering. Maybe these are the categories, isn't it? And all of you have heard this for quite some time. And you know by now that at the center of all of these, there is no existential entity or somebody like that. You have checked now often enough. or at least you know intellectually that there isn't one. So this intellectual knowledge which all spiritual seekers, at least on this path, they have, what is the difference between that and living reality? All of us have been following Guruji for many, many years. So fundamental is that there is no ego, the person has no existence, the mind is selling us a false story about the existence of one who doesn't exist. And what truly exists is beyond these four human conditions, isn't it? I don't feel like there's anybody, even if you're Bhakta temperament, who has not heard this and understood it intellectually. So, what is the gap between that intellectually knowing this or conceptually knowing this and that it being your reality? So, actually, the gap is also from the mind. It is also just a concept, just an idea. And the problem is not just that we feel that we should not have a human condition, but mostly because we have an idea about what that condition should be. Hmm? But do we really know what is better and what is best? Or if you look at whatever you may feel like you suffered from, you see, the more recent, the better. You see, even before coming to Satsang, it could be this idea. Look at that and tell me whether in that suffering is inherent the idea of something should not be this way, or something would be better if it was another way. And be especially vigilant to that which your mind tells you, no, no, but this is not what he's talking about. Any piece of knowledge which you think you have, and you feel like, no, no, but this is, I heard it from the master's mouth itself. So he only said yesterday. Is it? Even that, don't build a wall around anything that you think you know. Because this seeming knowledge, these seeming ideas seem to create that distinction between what you even logically know by now, that there is no me, and your seeming human experience. So simply, very simply, what I'm saying is that for you to suffer, you need to have an idea about yourself, and you need to have an idea about what should be. If whatever you are suffering from was actually the greatest gift that you have got, do we really know that it isn't? But we don't have to go like that. We don't have to go to the other extreme. But I'm just pointing out that we don't know at which end of the spectrum something is. So this idea that this should not be this way, or my life should be this way and should not be this way, is at the center of resistance. And as I keep saying, the ego is nothing but resistance. So how to bridge that gap between conceptual spiritual knowledge, which is that there is no me, there is only the self, and your direct recognition of this. Now that gap cannot be bridged in the future. It is only right now. Right now that gap is gone. What you are right now, is it? Tell me if this is not so. Without pulling the past and future in. Is it? And if you are convinced that okay, this is fine right now, but in the future again I'll be back to that. So what's so special about right now? What magic was done to you right now? In the future, will you be something other than this? So this is the moment to bridge that gap. So accept this without even trying to accept, without any position of even accepting this. And it is done. And don't confuse yourself to be your mind. You see, because most often when I say like this, but the mind is saying, let it say whatever it is saying. See, the mind will obviously go, but, this, that, yes, yes, no, no. It can do what it likes. Don't have to track it. Don't have to see if it is making progress or it is understanding. It's too much listening in the mic. How is it now? Better now without this. I see. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, let's try like this. So don't let any disturbance distract you from this, what is being said. It's very simple. Even mentally, you know now that there is no. ego. It only seems as if your experience is not this. And I'm telling you how to see that your experience actually is this right now. Right now, there is an untouched witnessing, and there may be a multitude of sensations. Is there anything other than that? Even the primordial vibration that we call I am, for you or that witnessing, is just a sensation. Is there anything other than that? Can't understand still. Nothing is happening today. Okay, how is it now? Check, check, check. It's probably time to get a new mind or a new throat. Better now? It's the same? We disconnect this mic and see. Okay, it's fine for the moment. Let's see. For a few moments, we'll see. So, is it not so for you that there is an untouched witnessing that is just naturally aware of every perception and seemingly a set of sensations being perceived? Is there anything else? Everyone's with me? Is this or something else? It will be witnessed as another sensation or perception, isn't it? So now, in the set of sensations and perception, is there something that inherently divides, that makes two, that separates in any way? Inherently. So there is sensation of sound from the road, bad audio from Satsang, all other visual perception, feeling in the body, all of these things are just sensations or perception. Now, is there something that inherently divides anything? So, if there is just a set of sensations and perceptions, and there is an untouched witnessing of that, and nothing inherently even divides between these two, then where are you? You're on which side? Are there any sides left? So nothing has ever divided anything. There never have been two. That's why this is non-duality. So division or separateness or me and another is just a notion, just an idea. And for this idea, there's an appearance, also part of the sensations, called the mind. What is the mind? Just this voice, just this bundle of thoughts. Now, suppose it was up to you where you wanted to draw your boundary. Suppose it is up to you to draw your boundary. Where do you draw it? Would you want to draw one? Where is it? That boundary is always mental, always just contained in the mind. And if the mind is convincing you now that, no, but the body is my boundary, just check whether this is true. What does it bind? Who is bound by the body? It seems that even when I drop thoughts about what specifically needs to happen, there is a feeling of tension and a belief that I need to do something in order to succeed in life. I feel afraid to leave it at your feet because I still believe that it is necessary. As long as you believe that something is necessary or it has to change, it is not a bad tactic to leave it to the grace of the divine presence. That's why we say Guru Kripa Kevalam. So, like you said, if you still believe that something is necessary, then to have this attitude towards it that I surrender it at the Master's feet, which means that you surrender it to your own holiness, your own divinity, whom the external Master is just a beautiful but physical representation. But let's look for a moment at these sensations, you see, and these we may presume that we are notionless about them. You see. But the primary notion can be that one set has to be and another set should not be. And in our language itself, that distinction is contained. So it might sound strange, but if we said that we were born on another planet, and in that planet the goal is to experience as much of this what you call tension, but they had a nice term for it, you see, as possible. So you're succeeding more and more the more you're experiencing one particular sensation. Because that which is not distinguishing between this sensation and that sensation. It's like the parent is not distinguishing between its children. You see. All sensations that belong to that one consciousness. So it is not distinguishing. But when we have the idea that this is good and this is bad, and I want more of this and less of that, that is when our life can seem to become a struggle. So, so what I'm really saying is that whatever is never too much or too little. It is just what is. But in our labels, we inherently either uh, want more of it or want to push something away. Seems like, okay, but I'm without a notion, but when will this tension go? This is a very good point that you brought up. I'm without a notion, and I was told that when I'm without a notion, all things are perfectly resolved. You see? But this stress is still there. You see? Now, stress is a notion. You see? I'm not saying that the sensation itself should not be perceived. I'm saying that in our knowledge of what it is it? We make either aversion to it or a desire for it. So if you were selling something, we were on the road and we were just talking to people who are not in satsang. You'll say, I have 5 kgs of stress. Who wants to buy? Is it? Won't buy stress, I won't take it for free. And somebody says, I have 5 kgs of joy. You just overflow. You drink this water and you'll just be joyful. You see? So, this magic potion, you drink it and you just have joy. See? So, in the term itself, the whole story of what it means to us is contained. But Guruji's example is very beautiful. He says that if you feel like you have stage fright or something like this, and you're going to speak on stage, there's a set of sensations that you will experience, and you will call that stage fright or nervousness, anxiety, all of these things. But a very similar, or maybe just the same set of sensations you could experience just before going on a big holiday. And you say, I'm so happy, I'm so excited. Have we really checked and seen what is the makeup of these sensations that we have labeled? And are they in themselves so oppressive that they can make consciousness go, no, 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 I don't want you? Nothing in itself is that oppressive. So, for something to be too much or good or bad for you, first you have to make yourself into an image of a limited being, much smaller than what you are. And once you see, and more you are seeing what you actually are, then you are looking and you're saying, okay, this sensation is there. How big is it? in relation to me, in my reality, how big is it? So something only seems big because we have got this idea that we have to defend against that. So this belief that I need to do something in order to succeed in life. What is the what is our idea of a successful life? And who is the claimant of such success? Is it? Is God competing with God saying, ah, if I'm living this life, then I better make it a success. I've been a good God. Is it? So, and what are the parameters for such a success? The same for better relationship, more money, healthier body, and of course, perfect enlightenment. Is it? Anything besides these four? So, notice that I'm not peddling the opposite notion that only in spirituality, only coming to satsang, that is your only true success. You see, and come here and that is how you're succeeding. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just questioning this notion of failure and success in life. Life is just life. Failure would mean what? Who did not successfully run this life? See, it's very good to spot these things because we can check on our idea of doership and who is the doer of this life. So success and failure does not apply to life. Life is just life. In fact, life is not life. Like no term can actually capture what this is. Once you have this term life, then you can say good life, bad life, happy life, unhappy life. What is the point of my life? Then so much drama is around this term. But what do we mean by life? Existence. Existence is life, and non-existence is no life. So even this sense of existence, it goes in your deep sea. So children are not trying to run a life. Birds are not trying to run a life. Trees are not trying to run a life. Presumably. And as Guruji says that without deciding, a tree is not deciding to be successful. And yet naturally the branches grow, the fruits come, the flowers bloom. So the landing spot for all of this trouble is the notion of our individuality. That is what's called the ego. If life is just life and it is not my life, then how could life be any trouble? So that is why we are constantly investigating whether there is such a me. And we checked just now that there is no such me. So another tip for everyone is that don't try to come to this motionless existence, because it will do something for the non-existent you. That something should go away or something should come now that you are motionless. True spirituality is not a way for the person to get better. It is for the person to dissolve. So if we can suffer in life, we must have at least one idea about that. And that idea could be very simple and may seem like, but this is true. Tension is bad. But do we know what tension is? What good is? What bad is? And most importantly, do we know what is? These two letter words, is and am, are very useful concepts. Like before we can claim to know anything about what is and who I am, we must just check and look. Is this true? What do I actually know about the existence? Then you say, yes, it is only a belief. It is not real. I feel more space now. Now, I want to tell you, because you have been in Satsang for some time with me now, that it is not about getting more space. Because again, then we'll get caught in the trap of whether I'm feeling spacious or contract. It is neither about contraction nor spaciousness. Let everything be. And often these days I've been speaking about this topic. It's a slight difference from what you're saying, but in a way it can be like that. Like many of us are doing the inquiry so that we can feel better or get more space. Start the inquiry, who am I? Yes, feeling better, there's more peace. All this is good, it's not bad. You see whatever good and bad is. But the main point is, but who are you? Who is that one who has a preference for space over contraction? And if there's only one, then is all what is appearing not a product of the same one? So this one that has preferences of this over that is going to become so oppressive that this is what I call the checker guy. This constantly reporting and saying this is good, you're doing well, this is bad, now go back to that. These kind of constantly checking on our state. But how does any state affect that which witnesses it? You see? And if it doesn't affect that which witnesses it, who does it affect? You see? So suppose it was really contracted, really contracted. Now, who is uh, who is suffering from this? Who is hurt by this? Or affected by this? And if there is nobody, then who has a preference for space over contraction? So in that way, we drop the barometer or the thermometer to life. We're not constantly checking the temperature because that which is not opposed to anything or for anything for that matter. Everything is just what it is. So that which I am, that I am, remains untouched by whatever may be appearing, whatever may be appearing. That which I am not, what I in the past believed myself to be, was trying to constantly manage the state of my states. So let everything come, let everything go. Not with an intention that if I let everything go, then I will only get something. Just let everything go for itself. No expectation of outcome. Other body parts are a bunch of concepts that are not easily erased. The notion of my hands, my feet, my head are persistent and believed in as they appear. That builds up the boundary. Well, so if you take my hand, there are two notions in that. One is the notion of me, and the other is the notion of hand. So what we are relentlessly pursuing is this me. The other notions will take care of themselves. Is whose hands? So we don't have to jump to that. We don't have to come to that point where Bhagavan said that everything that is appearing is just a thought or emotion. Investigate first this me, my hand, my feet, and they seem to make a boundary around me. So who is being made a boundary around? Investigate that. Don't use circumstantial evidence. Smile, smile, smile. Go, go straight to the root of this me. Don't look at some evidence and say, oh, that concludes there must be a me. Because there are hands, there must be a me. Because my vision seems to be centered around this object, I must be contained in it. Look, find out, look. How long will we let this evidence convince us of our limitation? Look and see for yourself. Who is this me? You may say, okay, but it looks like I'm contained within this head because I see everything from it. You see, okay, so who is contained within this head? So the motion of my hands, my feet, my head, etc., are persistent and believed as they appear that builds up the boundary. Okay, they may be persistent, they might keep coming back, all these ideas. Let's admit for a moment, okay, they're very strong. But you have to really check that whose hands are these? And you are not going to accept the gossip of the mind as the answer. The mind will come and say, what's the point of this? We know it's you, it's your hand. What kind of question is this? Is it? Will say this kind of thing. But that is just resistance to your own life, your own looking. If there is such a one whose hands these are, then it's about time in this 30, 40, 50, 60 years that we have this one existence to check and find out whose hands came out of the mother's womb, whose hands have grown inside, who is that constant you. We have seen many, many, many hands come and go, but the me has stayed. Who is that one? Then the first one said, yes, even the feeling of space is not what I am. Very completely untouched by appearances. So untouched that even the distinction between reality and appearance now will start to fade away. You will see that even these were provisional pointers. Everything is just what it is. Namaste, Father. What is the purpose of having this human body and go through all the suffering when we are already the self? How do you know that everything has to have a purpose? Maybe the idea that what is the purpose, or this is the purpose, or this is not the purpose, is just uh, the incompetent one's uh, representation of this world, but it has nothing to do with reality. Suppose we send a spaceship into space and really far to a planet, another planet which has life. You see, but in the spaceship there was a book about how life is on Earth. But that book was written by somebody who never really experienced life. You see, in the same way, we are looking at life through these lenses which are very small of purpose and meaning and not meaning or uh, good, bad, true, false, all of these tiny, tiny labels. We are infantile compared to your reality. So suppose that life was that too broad and too subtle to fit into any idea of purpose. What is the purpose of having this human body and go through all the suffering when we are already the self? But the self has never suffered. Who is the suffering one? Has it ever really happened? So, in the conceptual framework, in the intellectual framework, then all these things seem very valid. Yes, this is the story of human existence. We all are born, we mostly suffer, and then we die. But what is really so? What is true for you in this moment? Just because it is uncapturable in a concept, don't be in denial of it. You don't have to assert it because it's not capturable in any assertion. But what is this? Does it have to fit these age-old ideas of what life is supposed to be? Is a child born with the idea that, oh, my life has to have a purpose? There are many tribes living in this world, even today, where they're just going about their life a day at a time with no idea of purpose and meaning, and they seem quite happy. And please don't misunderstand what I'm saying because I'm not saying that life has no purpose or life has no meaning. I'm only saying that the tool that we have or we're using, the intellect or the mind, is not able to accurately represent. It will only have these opposites of meaning and meaninglessness, purpose and purposelessness. So, what about today? You have asked this question, and may it be the last day of this idea that something has to have a purpose. If you're always moving toward the future, because purpose means future, purpose means future. If you're always moving towards this purpose, then when will you meet what is? If it is already here, then why this mind is still filled with so much ignorance, arrogance, pride, and ego? So lose the if, because if keeps us in the realm of inferring, of debating, of believing, of concluding, interpreting, all these things. Lose the if, and you check and tell me what is actually here. So then we are moving away from the realm of conceptual conversation. Because I can say if it is already here, then this must be like this, or this must not be like this. You see, but let's lose the if. Are you here? And if you are here, then as what are you here? You see? And if you are here, that which is here, does it have any of these afflictions? Ignorance, arrogance, pride, ego. And if they are not you, then what's it to you? Then you say, I feel like today is a very good day for you to come to Satsang because all this frustration is coming out. So it's good, it's coming out. You say then, why is it taking so long? This is the contradiction, isn't it? I keep saying, you are free. The mind keeps saying, no, not there yet. He must be talking about himself. Something like that. And then the mind itself will say, come on, you have done everything possible. Why aren't you free yet? Why is it taking so long? So, do you know how long is too long? It's coming, going. So, we had a child come to Satsang the other day. She said that I just feel, I'm exaggerating, of course, but she just said, I just feel that it's been so long for me and I still sometimes get stuck. It's been 1 year. 1 year. So, how long is too long? Father, how to be and live in the heart? Can't do. Try to just be, try to be in the power of now, try to uh, live this way, try to live that way. In our time itself, it is long. By the time you decide to live in the now is gone. I'm going to just be in the now. Gone. I'm going to just be. Gone. So lose this intention. That's it. Lose every intention. That's it. Because all of this tactics employed come from a misrepresentation of you. The truth is much simpler than that. It's only when you want something for yourself that you can apply these kind of strategies. So is it yourself in smallest? If you want to become a free cat, then we can tell you which uh, bowl to drink from. But if there is no cat, then what are we talking about? So when you drop all distinction, even the distinction that this is good and this is bad, this is how I must be, this is how I must not be. And many times these spiritual ideas are spiritual oppression. Who doesn't know we are supposed to live in the now? Everyone by now knows. This is 20 years, in the last 20 years, it's the most popular spiritual motion. And then, so what's happened? We've known for 20 years. And how are we doing? Is it? Because the trick is this one, that the intender, the one who has this trick that, okay, now I will succeed by living in the now itself is taking us away from the now. The one who has the strategy and the tactics for spirituality, that one must go. In fact, it's gone. So, what has happened? What has happened is that we realize that how we were living earlier, which was to live in the mind, to be ambitious, materialistic, full of stress, trying to do things, trying to run this life, did not work. And because that did not work, we wanted another strategy, and we were told that, okay, the way to do it is through these things. So we picked up a new set of things, which seem as uh, much potential to cause suffering as those, as the initial ones. In fact, sometimes I wonder, And I say this out loud, I'm saying that I have not seen people suffer as much from being spiritual seekers as from anything else. So don't move from one set of operation to a new one. Because this spiritual operation will only lead to spiritual ego. Forget it. Forget all ideas, all tactics, all tricks. Forget everything that you've done. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you are. Tell me what you are. Not something that is learned and stale, old stuff. Old stuff that you may have heard even from this mouth. Not important. Just now. When you say, Father, with your grace, please destroy all this which is untrue and guide me to the path of truth and life and tell me what to do. I have no direction. Thank you so much for being here with all of us and guiding us. I bow to you. Very good, my dear. Very good. So meet me so empty that there is no me and you left. That all distinctions have gone. And it is not hard. In fact, it is naturally like that. Father, thanks when you point, this is the earlier one who asked. Father, thanks when you point to the right now. The idea of me, the problem, seem distant, as there appears to be a new dimension of existence. But it feels like I have to step down. Okay, to all the but, leave it. This is very beautiful. When you point to right now, the idea of me and the problem are gone. So don't solve it for the future you. Let that one take care of itself. Don't worry about the past. You be free now. Any way to avoid having to be reminded and instead stay in the zone of the now where I am okay. As long as you still take yourself to be the one who needs the reminder, then better that in your life reminders come. Once you see that you are not that anyway, then no reminder needed. But if we have a life where we take ourselves to be that one, and then reminders are also not coming, that doesn't seem like very great existence. Another one says, Father, I am understanding that what is here is just here. But what is not real is my interpretation of what just appears. Yes. And ultimately, that's real and unreal are also just interpretation. See, even this categorical balance is just finally also an interpretation. Then you say, I don't like this. I don't like that. He is nice. She is smart. It's my added stuff that is not real. Yes. Because in these ideas, we have never been able to represent truly. I like your report. Very simple, very nice. So, what is just is. And Guruji says that what is never has inherent meaning. The meaning comes from our perspective of it. You see, for some, this satsang will be the most boring thing they've ever attended. And for some, this might be changing their life. So we can never really say what it is in itself. So how is this satsang? You can't say it. Same for everything in life. It is just what it is. All our judgments about it are not just a judgment about it, but are a judgment about you. That is the primary trouble. If someone is like that, then what must you be? You must also be someone. And in all our judgments and interpretations, you will see that there is hiding an idea of who I am. And that is the constriction, or that is the limited notion about yourself. That is called suffering. And as we checked in the beginning of satsang, in our just our simple experience, if we had to categorize it in a very simple way, we see that there is a pure witnessing, pure awareness, and a set of perceptions, a set of sensations. Nothing is saying me, nothing is saying you, nothing is saying good, bad, ugly. Nothing is this way, that way. But with the invention of this me, then everything seems to get categorized into this or that. And very good that you're looking at these very simple things, because I'm really speaking about this what you're saying. Like you say, I don't like this, or I really like this. And how many times have we flip flopped over the years? Do we really know? We cannot, because the one at the center, the one who likes or does not like that itself, you find what is its nature. So leave your life uninterpreted, and then you will see that it just is what it is. And the beautiful part is that as you leave the world uninterpreted, your truth about yourself is just apparent. You are not objectifying yourself in your pure perception of this world. You're only objectifying yourself through your ideas about yourself. And let me elaborate for a minute on that, because when you mentioned about what is here, just here, I'm hoping that you were talking about not just what is this in this play of light and sound, which when we are interpreting, but you are also here as the primal witnessing of all of this. You are that which is perceiving all of this and is aware of even this perception. And it is clear to you, and it is always clear to you. You see, except those times where it seems unclear is when you try to understand. And understand it means what? What does it mean to understand something? To capture it in a coherent, conceptual way. I really understand this now. What is it? Yeah. So, so empty of this understanding of what you think the world is, good, bad, right, wrong, up, down, left, right, yesterday, tomorrow. The truth is apparent. And don't trust your mind when it says But this can't be it, because this it has not met. I say to you this, before the click you are free. The mind will come and say to you, nah, nothing happened to me. Something happened to the others. He keeps clicking, but nothing happened to me. Probably you're too shy to expose it. You just feel like, what is he doing? So, before your mind can come into play, your truth about yourself is clear to you. Even when it is in play, it is clear to you, only it seems to obstruct. And the mind, which has no idea about what this is, will come with the judgment and say, but that was nothing. You have a sense of what I'm saying. So then we keep seeming to meet life, and this is what exactly what she's saying. That we seem to meet life through the mind's interpretation as if they are true. And then our life becomes a very simplistic story of duality. I was born, I was a good person, I was very honest. Then a lot of bad things happened to me because God was testing me. And then I overcome some of the obstacles with some self continuum. And I feel like I'm almost free. And maybe in the next life. So this is the mind version of a usual life of this spiritual life. But what is your life right now? Our mind cannot even define the sensation well. It cannot even capture this phenomenal taste that I'm getting now, that you are getting now. Represent what is here now. We'll keep talking, but we will not be able to accurately describe. So it is a very, very lame interpreter for what is. And to live by its notion of what is to pretend to be ego, pretend to be constructive yourself. Very good. I like this simple approach. Are we meeting our life through these lens? And this is not about whether these lenses are coming and going. It is only about whether you believe you need them. You see, because these ideas will keep coming and going. And you may say that till they go, I will not be free. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you need to, right now, need to experience life through the window of your mind or your intellect. Yes. So that it's my added stuff that is not real. Yes. This much is enough actually. To notice that my interpretation is not real is enough. You don't have to go full on Vedanta and say this or now. It's not real. Just to accept that my idea of what this is not real, that much is enough. Now after that, whether you feel like you have an insight that none of this actually happened or has any validity, or you feel like this is a beautiful play, or you feel like any other seemingly valid interpretation of this is fine. But at least for now, notice that what your thoughts are saying about this I'm not matching up to what this is. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa Keval.